Hello, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World, and I'm your host, Jargal. Our top stories for today. Mongol Bank reduces the policy rate by 1 percentage point. Direct flights to operate between Ulaanbaatar and Prague starting in June 2024. The Mongolian design that inspired the distant galaxy was showcased in London. For the news, stay with us. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Mongolia held an unscheduled meeting on May 13th. After evaluating the current economic conditions and financial market outlook, the committee decided to lower policy rate by 1 percentage point, bringing it down to 11%.
In April 2024, annual inflation stood at 6.4% nationwide and 6.1% in Ulaanbaatar. The Mongol Bank's monetary policy measures in place since 2022 have effectively curbed and stabilized inflation. Declining inflation for imported goods and stabilized prices for key domestic food products have further contributed to this downward trend. Although there are risks of inflation due to wage and pension increases as well as fiscal activities, these impacts have been less significant than anticipated, prompting a downward adjustment in the near-term inflation forecast. Robust foreign demand and substantial export volumes have strengthened foreign currency inflows and improved the balance of payments. However, severe winter weather known as a dzud has led to significant livestock losses, negatively impacting agriculture production and economic growth. In response, the Mongol Bank's committee reduced the policy rate by 1 percentage point to support stable economic growth and maintain both external and internal economic balance. Future policy decisions will depend on changes in both the external and internal economic environment and the inflation outlook.
The Ministry of Road and Transport Development has announced a significant milestone in Mongolia's aviation sector with the commencement of direct flights between Ulaanbaatar and Prague. This initiative aligns with the ministry's strategic goal of cheap-ticket accessible flights, aimed at enhancing the availability and affordability of the air travel for passengers.
As part of this effort, Easynees Airways LLC will operate the new direct flights on the Ulaanbaatar-Prague-Ulaanbaatar road starting from June 12 of 2024. This development is expected to strengthen international connectivity, boost tourism, and facilitate economic ties between Mongolia and the Czech Republic. The Czech capital Prague is not only a popular tourist destination in Europe, but the Czech Republic is also home to almost 13,000 Mongolians. This is the largest Mongolian diaspora within the European Union and one of the largest in the world, following South Korea and the USA. In addition to the Prague route, the ministry has also revealed plans to expand its flight network further. Scheduled flights to Hong Kong, Busan, and Cheongju are set to begin by the end of June 2024. These new routes are part of a broader initiative to increase flight frequencies and destinations, ultimately enhancing Mongolia's position as a key player in regional and international air transport. The ministry's focus is on expanding air routes and making flights more accessible, reflecting its commitment to improving the travel experience for Mongolian citizens and international visitors alike.
Queen Amidala's costume at the set of the Star Wars film that was inspired by Mongolian fashion attracted the attention of the audience at the multinational fashion show and diplomatic fundraiser held at the Great Hall of the Kensington and Chelsea Borough in London on Saturday, 11th of May 2024. The event, organized by the Young Diplomats of London, aimed to strengthen the understanding between diplomats and local citizens, as well as to showcase the cultural heritage and artistic traditions of many countries.
The embassies of 17 foreign countries participated in the fashion show and displayed their national costumes. Onurma Janchev, cultural envoy of Mongolia to the UK, curated a pair of Mongolian dolls from Khalkh and Durvat groups in collaboration with the Mongol costume and its director and cultural envoy of Mongolia, Softa, Ultisana Altantsik. These captivating costumes, inspired by the Khalkh people, represent over 80% of Mongolia's population. The brightly colored and attractive clothes of the Durvat people, who live in the western part of Mongolia, offered a window into Mongolia's past and vibrant cultural tapestry and an opportunity to introduce the tangible heritage of Mongolia to the audience. Kawik Natsak, the cultural envoy of Mongolia to the United States, surprised the audience by performing a Khuretsam dance with his sons. I'm happy to be working as a producer at this event, collaborating with young diplomats and the Ambassador Spouse Club. Many sponsors provided support for our event. This event's main goal is to promote various countries' culture through its costumes and national clothing fashion. As a result, we have gathered a noticeable amount of donations for two major charity organizations. The fashion show of the event was directed by Taiwo Megoma, a renowned fashion consultant who dresses celebrities for the Oscar and BAFTA awards.
My name is Taiwo Paul Megoma. I am the fashion director of this event today. It's been amazing. I'm very impressed with it. We showcased culture, diversity in the UK. We showcased love for fashion. We showcased story. The story that must be told, and I'm so excited and I'm happy. The people that organized it that originated the whole thing were Mongolians. And the first secretary, Mogi, and also a producer, a renowned producer in the UK, Onro. She is an amazing person, as well as Mugi. They started all this. They worked with me, and I'm so happy to know them. I am blessed to know them. Onro, she did amazingly well at the Mongol Bank. She did so amazingly well, and I'm so happy to know her as a producer. When I heard she was actually going to be part of this event, I was thrilled because she is just an amazing person that I'm blessed to know, and I'm sure we'll be doing very many more in the very near future.
The event attracted representation from 17 countries and 400 participants. During the event, country stalls introduced their national cuisine and handicraft art to the visitors. The mayor of Kensington and Chelsea, Pretty Hart, and Deputy Mayor Doris Schmetterling attended as the guests of honor, as well as the ambassadors of many countries with their spouses were present as VIP guests, as was the ambassador of Mongolia to the UK, Ingsuk, with his spouse. During the event, in addition to national costumes, paintings, work of art, national costumes of many countries, and national dishes were exhibited. The Embassy of Mongolia presented a video presentation of the Go Mongolia campaign. Mongolian national food, paintings, samples of cashmere, and national clothing products. Organizers plan to make the event an annual event, hoping it will strengthen ties between diplomats and local communities and showcase the country's cultural heritage to London through art, culture, and fashion. Funds raised from this event will be donated to the Felix Project, a charity that distributes surplus food from London shops and restaurants to food banks, and Kids for Kids, which offers sustainable solutions for the hunger and poverty faced by children in Darfur, Sudan.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Next, our program will turn our attention to foreign news, partnered with international news agencies. United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk on Wednesday expressed deep regret at the adoption by Georgia's parliament of the law on transparency of foreign influence, noting that the legislation seriously undermines the freedoms of expression and association.
The bill requires media and non-governmental organizations and other non-profit groups to register as pursuing the interests of a foreign power if they receive more than 20% of their funding from abroad. The legislation could result in significant risks to the freedom of association and assembly in Georgia, Turk's spokesperson Ravina Shamdasani said.
Georgian authorities and lawmakers have chosen to disregard the many warnings given by human rights defenders and civil society, resulting in significant risks to the freedom of association and assembly in Georgia. The law adopted yesterday declares civil society and media organizations, which receive more than 20% of their funding from foreign sources, as organizations acting in the interests of a foreign power.
The government says the bill is needed to stem what it deems as harmful foreign actors trying to destabilize politics.
We call on the authorities in Georgia to build on recent important human rights achievements and to work with the country's vibrant civil society to resolve current challenges through an inclusive and rights-based process.
The opposition has denounced the bill as the Russian law because Moscow uses similar legislation to crack down on independent news media, non-profits and activists critical of the Kremlin.
Singapore's deputy leader Lawrence Wong has been sworn in as the nation's first prime minister in a carefully planned political succession designed to ensure continuity and stability in the Asian financial hub.
A United States-trained economist, 51-year-old Lawrence Wong, succeeds 72-year-old Lee Hsien Loong, who stepped down after 2 decades at the helm. Lee's departure marked the end of a family dynasty led by his father Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore's first leader who built the colonial trading outpost into one of the world's richest nations during 31 years in office. Wong took his oath of office on Wednesday in a televised ceremony at the National Palace.
I, Lawrence Wong, having been appointed to the office of Prime Minister, do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Singapore and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Singapore. So help me God.
The oath for due execution of office.
I, Lawrence Wong, being chosen and appointed as Prime Minister of Singapore, do solemnly swear that I will at all times faithfully discharge my duties as Prime Minister according to law and to the best of my knowledge and ability without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
France is considering imposing a state of emergency in the French Pacific territory of New Caledonia to curb spiraling violence, Prime Minister Gabriel Attal said on Wednesday. At least 3 people were killed and 4 others, including a gendarme, were seriously injured, according to officials in the territory and French media reports.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Monsieur le...
More than 130 people have been arrested and more than 300 have been injured since Monday, when protests over constitutional voting reform pushed by Paris turned violent in the archipelago, which has long sought independence. Speaking at Parliament, Attal, who attended a 2-hour meeting with top ministers at the Élysée, said the aim of the state of emergency would be to restore order as soon as possible. A decree on the methods to impose the state of emergency is to be presented to the French cabinet on Wednesday afternoon. There have been decades of tensions on the archipelago between indigenous Kanaks seeking independence and descendants of colonizers who want to remain part of France. New Caledonia became French in 1853 under Emperor Napoleon III, Napoleon's nephew and heir. It became an overseas territory after World War II, with French citizenship granted to all Kanaks in 1957.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We will see you at Friday with more news and updates. Goodbye.